a lot more because they've been on the planet for a longer period of time. But then if they haven't got a job or not earning as much, then it's like, okay, what have you been doing all of this time at your big age? It doesn't really, I don't know, add up.
It's hard though because you don't know people's, stories or backgrounds or.
Yeah, I mean that just shows though that like you are looking for money in a way. It might not be like that thing, but because they've reached a certain age where you think they're not going to earn any more money than this, so it does mean you do matter about it a little bit.
I feel personally for me, it's more an opinion of like what my parents and what their expectations of me are, especially like. Obviously, being a woman living in a patriarchal society, like a lot of things are not really geared towards women's safety or women being able to earn as much money as men or being able to reach high CEO positions and stuff.
What are you talking about? Yeah. What are you talking about? Our whole society is geared towards women. Women make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions. Our whole media is geared towards women empowerment. There's no men's empowerment.
Okay, well, I don't know the statistics, so I'm definitely wrong here. But I'm just saying in terms of like, maybe more so traditional values then, and the way that like women see men as a type of security or like a safety net, so to speak. So when I'm looking at it from kind of that perspective, if we're really looking at a man that is the example 35 who's earning a lot less than a female that is a lot younger, then for me personally it would be questionable, because then bringing that home to my family and my family's like, okay, so you're a young woman, how is your potential husband going to be able to look after you, and not only you but your children?
Do you think it's fair to ask men to provide traditional outcomes when we're not traditional women?
No, it depends on the couple. Like the couple has to be compatible together, and it depends on whether they consider or value societal values in their relationship.
No, so I'm just saying, like, by and large, like I know there's going to be you know what I mean? I know there's going to be nuance, but I'm saying like by and large, do you think it's fair to ask for traditional outcomes when we're not traditional women anymore?
What is your definition of a traditional? Being a traditional woman anymore.
So I would say if you're not a virgin, like you're not a traditional woman. Because a traditional woman, like traditionally women were virgins when they got married. And a traditional outcome is when the man is still expected to protect and provide. So it's like we're asking for traditional outcomes when we're not traditional ourselves.
Yeah, because even in your situation, you were a bit traditional yourself there, because when you answer that, you worry about what your family's going to think. Then why couldn't you be the provider? Like, if you truly felt that way, why couldn't you? That it doesn't matter if the man's a nurse and earning like 20K or whatever, why couldn't you be the big, the main thing? So even in yourself, your answer's a bit traditional.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like that's maybe because I value like my parents' opinion, but then also I wouldn't want to be a provider. Like I feel as though sometimes women, they take on this big struggle of, I have to do everything, or they don't necessarily have the support of like men in order to like reach their goals and aspirations, and they're looking after everyone else but themselves. So it's just like, I wouldn't prefer to like be like the main earner in my household. Like I want to put my feet up, I want to relax. Like the struggle life is not for me.
Yeah, and so you should.
I don't know. I feel like the traditional ways, like men want the same as we do. Like you want to be cleaned, cooked for, being taken care of. So
would you say modern women by and large offer that? Because they also want purity and youth, and we don't offer either of those things.
Purity, I don't think is really a major thing, to be honest, because were women really pure back then, we don't know 100%.
Yeah,
so they say.
True, yeah.
We can't guarantee that.
I have a question for the men. Would you want a girl that slept with 100 people?
No.
Would you want a girl that slept with 100 people?
No, but my answer is probably different to what you expect. Like, because my reason is just like, I don't actually care that it's 100 people. It's just the fact that I wouldn't go for that type of girl who is willing to sleep with 100 people. Yeah. So it's not the number that puts me off. It's just then I know that's that type of person, like to act.
But
like
then
that.
You're basing her off the number.
But
it's based off of choices that she makes. Yeah. So like it's like if I was looking at a guy and he cheated on every single girl he'd been with, like I could infer that he's a cheater. So if a girl's been sleeping around for the past decade, he can infer she's a hoe.
Not exactly. Like your body count does not amount to who you are.
Well, yeah,
and people do change as well.
Yeah, but it amounts to your decision-making abilities.
But then those decision abilities may be determined because of like childhood trauma or like things that person has gone through or experienced like some negative
that's true,
experiences.
but the world doesn't owe you understanding.
Yeah, the guy's not gonna know that.
So the guy, like when you come to a guy, he doesn't owe you understanding. And if you come to him and he can tell you slept around, like I think it's in his right to not want to date you.
Then I have a question. Do you think that a male, like for us being women, do you think men owe us respect?
I mean, I think everyone deserves like a basic level of like, I don't even want to say respect, because I guess respect is earned, but like human decency. But I think like you should be selective in who you date, and I think men have a right to be selective in who they date. And if they don't want to date a girl that slept around, I think that's perfectly fine. And I wouldn't want my brother to date a girl that's like banged the whole football team.
But there's a bit of double standards, because the male can bang the whole cheerleading team.
Yeah, because men and women are different. And because a man has to become something in order to sleep around. Yeah, you're not gonna sleep around with like an overweight bum, right? If a guy overweight bum comes up to you, you going on a date with him?
I don't know. Depends on the confidence.
Cap.
It's all about confidence. It's all about confidence.
Well, okay, but if we look at the data, the results speak for themselves. 1 out of 3 men are either virgins or haven't had sex in the past year. Yeah. So we don't owe them sex or understanding for not being able to get laid. And that's the same way like men don't owe us relationships if we've slept around.
It makes me laugh as well, because if an ugly person comes up to you in a club and gives you a compliment or says something nice, it comes across as creepy. Yeah. Right, that guy's a creep. If a handsome person or a good-looking person comes up to you, you're flirting, like shy and stuff like that, you know. So it depends on the person who says it. It's really, I find that strange. Also,
the equivalent to men sleeping around not being fair is men saying, "Oh, like if I'm broke, should you still date me?" But so, like, women go for guys that are established financially, or that's what they want. Even if they're looking potential-wise, they won't date a good-looking bum for too long. It won't be long-term.
So, what the saying, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but how many hoes are housewives right now?
You're right. I actually agree with you to some level. Like, those girls do usually still get married. The problem is they leave. They get bored. And statistically, the data supports that, because a woman that's had sex that's a virgin when she gets married has an 80% chance of a happy marriage. And if she has sex with more than 5 people, which most men pray for nowadays, it goes down to like 25%.
Is that a happy marriage or is that settling? We don't know.
What do you mean
like
by that?
The woman that was a virgin and then married, we don't know how good her sex life is.
Well, but you ask her if she's happy in her marriage, and there's an 80% chance after 10 years she says, yes, I'm happy. Where the girl that's had sex with more than 5 people, there's a 25% chance that she says, yes, I'm happy. So if I'm a dude and I'm thinking, do I want a girl with more bodies or less bodies? I'd pick less bodies.
But that's because that's all she knows, isn't it? Like that's all the only person she slept with. So that's what she's going to be happy with. If you've tried and tested around, and obviously you're right. That's correct. Like the more you have to compare it to, but it's like guys don't want to be compared to a whole bunch of dudes. That's not attractive.
What's wrong with being satisfied? I mean, you know, you're saying, oh well, you're got to go and test drive a whole load of cars before you decide which one you want to spend the rest of your life with. But there again, if somebody just gave you a car, you'd be happy with it. And isn't that at the end of the day, isn't that the objective, to be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you know, there was an old song in the 60s. If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. Yeah, people have this. No, it's not. It's not settling. The thing is, the only reason why you think it's settling is because Disney has convinced you.
It's a fairy tale.
Disney has convinced you that you're somehow or another you're a princess that deserves to have a prince. Yeah, and the numbers of princes are very, very low.
Well, and the issue is you have girls that are 4s, 5s, and 6s sleeping with 8s, 9s, and 10s, and they think they're on that level. And so when they actually meet the guy that's going to marry them and is at their level that'll put a ring on it, they think they're settling, but they're not settling. Your level's what you can get.
So they're dating up then.
there's women sleep up.
Sleeping
because
up.
and the data we have more data on this than ever because we have dating app data, which is extremely honest. So it says what do women want, and it's between 5 to 15% of guys, they're screwing all the girls. I mean, I went to a pickup artist boot camp, which is I did this for a YouTube video where it's like basically a camp where these guys teach other guys how to get laid. And they'll teach them things like, for example, a girl's not going to want to sleep with you if you haven't touched her the whole date. And that's something you wouldn't really think about as a woman. Like, they touch your arm, touch your back, that like builds attraction. And like one of the dudes that was like teaching the camp, I literally saw him take home 4 girls in 4 days. And none of those girls were that cute. But it's like those guys are literally sleeping with everybody.
I'm surprised because I would have said, if you have to go to a pickup class to get girls, you're in the wrong place.
He was the instructor.
Oh,
he wasn't the one. If you want to make $1, it was like, oh my God, they spent a lot of money on that camp. So if you ever want a business, I pick up.
I'm just interested why there were so many girls at a men's pickup.
No, it was just me. It wasn't a lot of girls. It was. Oh, you mean? Right, no, it was basically like they would. All these guys would fly to Vegas, and then at Vegas they would teach them how to get laid at like the clubs and stuff. So I did it as like a vlog. This was like, I don't know, you can probably find it on my channel like 6 months to a year ago. And I just wanted to see, like, it's kind of like nosy, like what are the guys talking about?
But Pearl, I guess my question is like, because we live in a really hypersexualized culture. Like, I know, like, I talk to my girlfriends and stuff, and they blatantly lie about how many guys they've had sex with. But a lot of guys don't want virgins either. So it's like, it's kind of a no-win situation.